Come on in.
Oh, I like it.
Okay. Well, welcome everyone to National IBD training today. I am so on fire today. I sent the rebel out. I don't know if you guys have seen it, but I'm like, yeah. Anyway, this morning was an awesome morning for me, and it just made me so empowered that I just had to just share and be like, guys, get up early, do stuff, have your power 2 hours or whatever it is, right? You know, feed your talents, feed your faith, feed your body, get your, exercise, nurture your mind. If you do all of that before 7:30, 8 o'clock, you feel awesome. So anyway, I had a great morning, and I hope you guys did too.
Even I did.
Yeah, and Gary was there with me, so that's probably why I'm supercharged, because I wasn't just there doing it by myself. Gary was actually at the gym with me, so that was really great. And yeah, that deserves a round of applause. Okay, well, this week we have several neat things coming up. Tomorrow at Matt Parks, and I believe it's 8 o'clock. It may be 7. I need to double check that, but my son, Preston, is presenting in the Y Lecture Series, his first actual speaking gig, and I'm really proud of him. That's what Strongbrook does for your kids, and so he's going to be presenting. His title is Teens Out of the Frying Pan and Into the Fire of Their Passion, right? So, so that I'm just really excited for that for him. And then on the 3rd, Wednesday, is the VIP special mentoring dinner at Chris Crohn's. So if you have any mentors that have a following and have digital content that you want to get to that dinner, that's going to be 6 to 8 at Chris's house. And then the 17th is huge. Okay, who can tell me what's happening the 17th?
Well,
okay,
wealth workshop.
Wealth workshop. Okay,
Worldwide known mentors.
okay. So who's going to be there?
Will you be there?
I will be there. Jane will be there. We're rocking it up. Who else?
Carolyn, but Jane will be.
Oh, what I was going to say about it is just awesome.
It's just awesome. Okay.
Wealth workshop for free.
Yeah. Oh yes. I'll do the man on white. Who
Tells
does?
us there.
Okay. So Laurel Langmeyer is coming. She's going to be in the evening. She's the Millionaire Maker. She is phenomenal at creating cash very rapidly within like 24 hours. And Garrett Gunderson is just totally awesome. Dave Blanchard, myself, Amy Walker, Leslie Householder. It's going to just be a full packed day of powerful mentoring on financial wealth and freedom. So if you want to learn how to make more money and how to enjoy it and all that, come on the 17th. And that's from 9, it'll be from 9 to 9 at the Utah Valley Convention Center in Provo. And if you need more details, go to strongbrookcalendar.com. It always has all the details, right? And then gotta register. Oh yes, and you need to register, and you really, really need to register, because if you just try to show up, I think it will be packed, and you might not get in. So you definitely need to register for that, and because we're doing this for free. I mean, I can't even believe this is free. This should cost so much money. So anyway, so we're doing it for free, and it's going to be awesome. And then coming up on June 29th, 30th, and the 1st of July, that's the next 3-day Live Big. And you need to register for that as well. And so those are the big things that we have coming up. Was there something else, Gary, you wanted to mention? That's June 29th, 30th, and then July 1st. So so for any other details or events, look on strongbrookcalendar.com. But we also have something fantastic that has happened. That if you went to who here went to the David Fagan Symposium? Did you guys love that? Yeah. And so if you remember from that symposium, what is open now? The store. The Strongbrook store is open, right? The Strongbrook store is open. So if you want to get to the Strongbrook store, you just go strongbrookstore.com, and you can go into that. And so we're just starting putting things in there before the 17th. All of the people that are speaking in this we'll have things in the store for you to purchase. My coaching programs will be in there for you to purchase, so I'm excited about that. And then, so that's one thing, you know, there's more really neat stuff coming. And there's also a special thing in the store already that I'm going to have Julia Graden announce, because it's our first exotic trip, guys. So I'll let Julia come up and share.
The 14th, I think.
October, I believe so.
Okay, so in 2 days, my husband and I, Bill, who is going to be presenting today in this training, we are going with Ann Webb, the great Ann Webb, who does Ideal Life Vision, who has her material in the Mentoring Network. We are going with her to Kenya. And so we are excited to go and learn about everything that she does over there. And it's highly humanitarian involvement with taking over some amazing things to the people there and also training and coaching them. Strongbrook is offering this trip for anyone who would like to put this on their life vision, their vision boards. I would suggest you get pictures of giraffes and lions and cheetahs and get it on your vision board to go to Africa in October with Chris Crone and Gerald Rogers and a few other mentors. And you will be able to use 1,000 loyalty points. So build up your loyalty points. That will save $1,000 off the trip. The trip itself is about $59.90. It's almost $59.99, so it's about $6,000 plus airfare. So the airfare is about $1,000, $1,050, and there are some other incidentals. So you're planning on $7,000, and if you think that that is a lot of money, work on your scarcity mindset, because you can make it happen. I know that you can make it happen. Have an abundance mindset and set that as a goal. It's going to be the most incredible experience that you could have in your life. To go visit orphanages and schools and villages and work with these people in the Masai Mara and in Kenya. We know that's going to be life-changing for us, and we'll be able to come back and report and help you to prepare for that trip because we are local. So get excited, get that on your vision boards, put $7,000 and 1,000 loyalty points. I'll save you some off of that and give you some spending money. So we are real excited for a nice big group to go with Ann and Chris and to have a life-changing experience.
Thank you, Julia. Such a great job on that. And there's something more about these neat things that we're doing. The humanitarian piece is amazing, but I think there's something called experience, the economy of experience. Because have you noticed that if you want to be a speaker and if you want to share things with people, aren't they going to love the fact that you went to Africa? Aren't they going to want to know more about you because you're that kind of person? You're the kind of person that would go on a humanitarian, but you have like an exotic life, right? You're doing stuff. And that is a neat part of Strongbrook, because we have these built-in things where we can have this economy of experience. So, and with that, we will wait for just a minute, Bill, and we will have Chris Crone come up and give us some amazing announcements. And anyway, with that, Chris Crone.
Thank you. How's everybody doing?
Fabulous.
How are your summer plans looking? I hope you're planning a lot of time with Strongbrook, because we're on the verge of some very powerful and very exciting things happening. And I thank you, Carolyn, for letting me interrupt and just take just a couple of brief minutes with you and kind of share with you. First of all, I'm really happy. Life is good.
Yay.
Just spent 3 days doing Conscious Creator Live with an amazing group of individuals that, man, they just played all out hard to take their life to the next level. And it was amazing. It was really awesome. So there's a lot that's going to be taking place inside of the next couple of short weeks. And some of those things are going to start precipitating this week. There's some things that I don't really want to announce until they actually show up and are here, but there's some massive things that are about to come on top of us What I wanted to do though today is just give you a little bit more of an inside look as leaders in this leadership call about how we are growing and how we're moving. And I have some invitations for you, especially those of you that represent organizations outside the state of Utah as well as inside. You are aware that we have an app that is about to debut that is filled with all sorts of free content. We have packed it with so much freemium that you're going to look at it and say, wow, there's some awesome, undeniable value in what has been created here. So I'm very excited about that because I think that's going to change the way people build business. I think people are going to lead out and say, I have a business and my product is free, and how would you like to try it on? And it is a great way to open a door to start conversations. I think people with lists are going to start getting loads of people downloading and trying on the content. And really that's the goal of the freemium, is to really get a lot of eyes on who we are and create a better sifting process for you to be able to talk and communicate with people. At the same time, we're also just right on the eve of launching internationally, which means that your opportunities are no longer restricted. I cannot believe how many people I know who have amazing contacts and lists overseas. And I think many of us know that around the world outside of America, America is a really powerful country. And sometimes when you live in the level of abundance that we do, even $40,000 a year and less is actually considered abundant in worldwide standards, that we don't take advantage of all the opportunities in front of us. And there are many people around the world that are itching for opportunities. They're itching to work with an American-based company. They're itching to work with a company who's flexible and has free products. They're itching to work with a company that has programs that can take their life to the next level, which is why I'm excited about going to Africa in October with those of you that are going to be joining us on the web trip. It's in the strongbrookstore.com to learn more about that trip. It's an experiential part of life. So, but there's something I want to put your eyeballs on that is a little different, that is integrated to the whole plan that we haven't been talking very much publicly about, and it is the fact that we actually do have a Strongbrook store. Okay, how many of you were at the David Fagan event, by the way? Okay, curious, David, how was the content he delivered?
Fantastic.
Wasn't it awesome? I look at that and I'm like, man, that guy knows so much about that niche. In that room, our audience is filled with people that have a message and they want to get better and more affluent at how they share and communicate that message. And I don't know if you're aware, but from David Fagan being in town, there will likely be about $50,000 of commissions generated that is going to be impacting many of you in this room. Okay. And did any of you feel like David Fagan actually did some kind of like a hard sale pitch in front of the audience? Did it feel that way? No, he just made an opportunity available. Well, we have a special event that is our next level of experiment happening on the 17th of June. This is a very critical event. This is Strongbrook's Wealth Workshop. For our PSA clients, every year we put on a Wealth Summit, and it's normally an evening event. This is the Wealth Summit evening event expanded out throughout the entire day. So we have a whole list of mentors, including Jane is going to be there. We've got Leslie Householder from Phoenix, Amy Walker from Atlanta, Laurel Langmeyer from Tahoe. I'm going to be at her house next week. Garrett Gunderson that lives in Sandy. We've got these mentors, Dave Blanchard up in Idaho. Our mentors are crossing the Bountiful. So they're coming here to this event, and the entire day, this is mentorship on finance. So it'll cover business, entrepreneurship, business relationships. It'll cover real estate, basic entrepreneurship. So all aspects of that. It's going to be an event filled with aha and breakthrough for people that come. Now that room can only hold 800 people, and we're inviting our entire real estate database, and normally that dominates a lot of the room. But I know that Amy Walker, Leslie Householder, Garrett, many of these others are inviting their databases. So this is an event you are going to want to be registered for. I do have some flyers here in the front of the room. And I posted on Facebook, so you can be digitally sending this out to people. Well, here's the significance of this. At this event, everyone on stage has a product in the Strongbrook store. And they're not going to be pitching from stage, but they are going to have an MC who is going to create awareness that if someone in the audience is really resonating with one of these mentors, then we have a physical version of the store out in the hall. So on break, go check it out, or go to strongbrook.com and see what it could look like to work with them. All of their products are what? They're all commissionable. So it's like we've added so far 10 new PSAs to the company's what the company has available. In a year, it'll be a couple hundred. So different price points, different commissionability. Laurel Langmeyer just spoke at an event in Canada this weekend with Kevin Harrington. She had 98 people in the room and did $426,000 in sales. I had Nate Larson, who's my coaching manager at the event. Nate is in my company one of my biggest skeptics because we're bringing Laurel in and because Laurel is actually creating an international contract to go big with us. I mean, she wants to play all out huge with her entire database in her 6 countries. And, she wants to do about $10 million of revenue by the end of the year. So Laurel's going to be playing all out. So we thought, wow, we should probably, she's already been to our offices. So we sent Nate up to her event in Canada. His jaw was dropping. Mine was absolutely blown with the value she created for the people there. That's happening on June 17th.
Did you go there too, or just Nate?
I wasn't there, just Nate. And so, by the way, if anyone does choose to participate in any of these mentors programs, what does that produce through the organization?
OCD.
Yeah, OCD. It produces commissions. This is going to be a really big event. And then what we're going to do to our IBDs out of the state is we're going to ask them and challenge them to put meetings large enough on all over the United States, and this is going to go on the road. And we're creating more and more venues for our mentors to be able to speak and have that revenue opportunity. Right now, David Fagan, to say the least, is a pretty big fan of the companies. He says in all of his years of business, he can have a vendor as big or as powerful as us that is driving business to him. So now what he wants to do is he wants to create and produce a lot more value. So there's this beautiful reciprocation that takes place in the way that we're working together. So
Will this be recorded?
this will be live. And I should have even told you that.
Yeah, I know.
Just real quick, rewind. This event is not live streamed, but we could choose 3 days before to make a last minute decision. I would never communicate the live stream availability ever until right before the
I'm thinking
event.
for people around the country.
I get
or
it.
Be able to watch it later in the fall.
I get it. We're working on it. We're figuring
We
it
get
out.
that question asked a lot. That's
Yeah.
why.
Yeah, it's called Get in Your Car.
Yeah.
And the event is free. And it's going to be, and this is going to be an awesome breakthrough event. I'm excited about it.
People come to events from other countries to see events.
I mean,
Like
this
they'll
quality
drive,
of-
John Boyce and I, we drive 3 states away to go to events that aren't Strongbrook events. And people do that for Strongbrook events.
So the reason why I'm sharing this with you is because I don't want to say surprise 2 weeks after the event with something in the mail like a good check and have you look at it and say, where did this come from? Wow, if I had known what the company was doing, I would have gotten 30 more people at the event. So I'm telling you about it now so that as you're out there and talking to people about them, let them know. I just wrote a post about it in the Mentoring Network on Facebook. There's some language that you can borrow and use there. Bottom line is anyone who wants a better financial life, we chose speakers. This was the cool part. I could have put 100 people on stage. We chose these mentors for a reason, to create a well-rounded conversation on finance. And here's what's different at this. Do you know when Laura Langmeyer collected all that money from her event this weekend? Happened at the event, because there's extra discounts that apply just at the event only. What that means is that by the way, will Strongbrook real estate be talked about at this event?
Yes.
Absolutely will be. It is just an option for people, but I've got some people here in this room that I know like to make those bigger commissions that come from real estate being sold. I think you might be surprised that putting the same effort into just getting people to this free event may produce more income than just focusing on a single product line, which is breakthrough empowerment, next level dissatisfied, want to know what your next steps look like. And we're committed to running this event in a way that when we do it again next month, different topic, different speakers, that all the people that came to this one are going to say, I need to go to that next event, because the value that was transmitted, which is the first and most important part from all of these different mentors, is the value that they're sharing with people is enough to say, wow, these are events I just want to keep coming to. So we've got 3 exciting things on the horizon right now between these events tied to the store, between the freemium with the app coming out, and also with the international. So it's an exciting time with a lot of things hitting right now. So I wanted to come, I wanted to share that with you. I wanted to get these flyers put out. I'll hand them around.
Can we get more flyers and can we get the PDF to send electronically?
Yeah.
Just like the one you posted.
So there's a company called Kinko's. And if you took that flyer there, it would actually produce even more for you. It's what they do. They're good at it. So that's one option. Online, we've got a digital version. It's awesome. Yeah. I think this is the end of the flyers that we printed up. We were only printing them up for that one event. So I'm kind of giving the last ones to you guys so that you do have them. So any questions at all on anything I've shared with you? Any awesome secrets you want to try and pull out of me? I will not tell.
Release the app.
Yes.
When?
It's so exciting, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's just on the horizon.
Oh.
Yeah.
So 3 days.
I'm not going to give you a date for that. I'm also not going to give you a date for the international launch.
Okay.
You will know when it is available.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Well done.
You're gonna be a politician.
We're all growing.
Hey, you're gonna be a politician.
Yeah, there we go. There you go.
I just don't want to create any disappointment for
Have you
anyone.
tried?
What's that?
We have to try.
If someone goes to strongbrookstore.com and orders stuff, how does that get back to you?
Excellent question. Right now, there is currently no ordering through the store. It just has a phone number that you have to call in because the current products in there are like a trip to Africa and working with Fagan. So they're higher priced. Most people don't just run $10,000 or $6,000 or $3,000 on a credit card. So the same way PSAs are processed, they just call into customer service and they'll take care of the processing of that for them. And nothing ever gets processed without knowing who the IBD is. The next version of the store, however, is going to be directly linked to your IBD code. So anytime anyone shops at all, it'll always be linked back to you. Even, for example, the app, even though the app is downloadable for free, no one will be able to download the app without a code. You will each have your own code. So even if someone remains a freemium and they're a prospect and they don't want to become an IBD and they show up to the Langmeyer event and they choose to purchase her 3 days to cash flow program, it'll automatically be tied to you for income. Yeah, so we've taken great care on making sure the tracking is in place. Yeah, great question. Thank you.
Hey, the beard's looking pretty good now.
What'd you think of me last week?
Everyone must be like Chris.
It was still the scruff look.
Yeah.
Now it's looking good.
Thanks, Brad. I'm shaving it off tomorrow. So. It's still got, I'm 35. It's still a little patchy for me. Just wanted to see if I'd become more manly in the last 5 years since I tried last. You know, it's a little fuller, so my manliness has, you know. So I'm just going to lift a little harder. No, she didn't. It's now starting to get soft for her. Yeah. But I'm going to be, just because some of you obviously care, I'm going to be growing out my hair.
Oh,
Jesus.
We'll bring scissors. Attack you, take you down and cut it off.
I've thought the same about your chops from time to time.
I need to trim them again?
No, you're good. You're good. All right.
The things we learned at IBD.
Yeah, this is live stream.
You're welcome. Anything else? Any other questions? Listen, I know you guys have a lot of other important topics to get to. I'm excited for you guys. I also just want to thank the Norrises, not only for putting this meeting together and not only for just streaming it, but some of the things we talked about today actually came from a brainstorming session with them not too long ago. I love learning from the leaders in the field. Can you please help me thank Jane and Gary?
One question, how are the PSA sales doing since the big launch of the mentoring?
You know, last month was a little slow. The month before was one of our biggest months ever. So, I mean, right now it's trending in a good direction. And I think once we launch the freemium version, you know, imagine 90 days from now, how much of a free app can circulate in 90 days?
Yeah.
Angry Birds had 1 billion users when they launched. It's $99 now to download, 99 cents. Okay. How fast can a free app move? It can haul. So imagine if they got a notification that says tonight at 7 p.m., 40-minute conversation on finance, real estate, where it's going, where to get in and where not to.
So there's an app there's going to be a specific thing about the real estate investing.
No, the whole app is about personal development. Finance is an aspect of personal development. So we could send a notification out and we could have 50,000 people watching live stream from their cell phone a 30-minute message because of the power of a free app. And that could produce 5,000 game plan requests.
Yeah,
So do you see the correlation? It's powerful. It's powerful. All right, friends, thank you so much. Appreciate you. Thanks for letting me in.
Well, are you guys really excited now? Yeah, some really, really neat things happening. And we are going to have Bill come up. If you need to take more time next week because Chris came, just let me know and we'll give you more time, because I really appreciate Bill. I know he has put a lot of effort into this presentation. I personally am really excited to learn from you. And it's called, the title of his presentation is A Health and Wealth Prescription from no other than Dr. Bill. So.
Thank you, Carolyn. It's great to be with you here. Welcome to all you who are here personally in the audience and to all you who are joining on this live stream. The concepts I'm going to talk about today are not new, but they are fundamental. They're concepts that we teach over and over here at Strongbrook because they are essential to the conscious creation of your life and your vision. So with that in mind, I'm going to touch on 3 areas today. 1, we're going to explore a root cause of sickness in your life. 2, we're going to talk about how you can go about attacking and eliminating that cause. And 3, we're going to talk about not only healing in your life, but creating a new life, the life of your dreams. And so if you're ready for that, we're going to go. Let me give you a little bit of background. I'm a board-certified family physician. I have over 30 years of experience in private practice. I never became a rich physician. And I'm going to tell you that story just a little later, explain in more detail about that. So it has to do with what we're going to talk about today. My practice was in a small farming town of about 5,000 people. I take care of entire families, from delivering the children to taking care of great-grandma and grandpa in the nursing home. These were salt-of-the-earth folks, regular folks just like you. They had dreams and ambitions for their lives. At times they had great hopes, and at times they had great despair in their lives. We're all familiar with physical sickness. But as we look at ourselves as a whole, in a holistic viewpoint, we also have sickness in a number of other areas of our lives, financially, emotionally, relationships. We deal with sickness in our lives. I attended the University of Washington Medical School in Seattle. And back in the 1960s, a physician by the name of King Holmes developed landmark research that is now known the world over. He discovered that there is a relationship between stress and sickness in our lives. And stressors can take a number of different forms. They can be positive or negative. A stressor could be a new job. It could also be losing a job. A stressor could be a vacation or a birthday, a promotion. It could also be a death or a sickness. And he found that if you put those on a scale, and if you add up enough of those stressors in your life, both positive and negative, that you can predict illness in an individual. You can predict illness. Now, more recently in medicine, we've also learned about the power of healing and the power of the mind that can heal. Back about 30-some years ago, the New England Journal of Medicine, that's the most prestigious medical journal in the United States, chose to publish research about the power of prayer in healing. That was a huge and created quite a bit of controversy at that time. That later followed in the lay literature. One of the articles that was published in the Saturday Evening Post was entitled, quote, "Prayer is good medicine. The evidence for spiritual healing is one of medical science's best kept secrets." Well, it wasn't a secret anymore after that. But we learned that prayer does have healing power. More recent studies, we've learned that forgiveness also has healing power. In my private practice, I experience the power of the mind in healing as well. And I experience that regularly. I had children come in with warts. Now, some of you may be familiar with having warts treated. They can cut them off, they can freeze them, they can burn them, they do all kinds of things. With children, I had them go home and find a rock. And they were to keep that rock under their pillow, and twice a day, morning and evening, they'd take that rock out and they were to rub their wart. And I told them if they would do that faithfully morning and night for a month, their wart would go away. And what do you think happened? It went away every time. Every time it went away. In medicine, we use a placebo effect. We give patients sugar pills. Well, they're not really sugar pills. They have nothing in them. But we suggest to them that they'll get better if they take these pills. And in 20 to 40% of the time, what happens? They get better. That's right. They get better. They get healed. So what's happening in our minds, in our brains, that's creating this effect? It's creating both sickness and healing. Well, let's look at some science. More than 60 years ago, a physicist described an experiment done by a lie detector expert. And they took and scraped some cells from the inside of the mouth of a Navy seaman. And they put those in a test tube. They took that test tube and moved it 7 miles away, and they hooked it up to a lie detector. And then they took that Navy seaman and they showed him video of Pearl Harbor. He had been there when the bombing occurred. And they showed him again this video of what happened at that event. And as he became emotionally involved in that event and what he was seeing, the lie detector 7 miles away, connected just to his cells, began jumping all over the place, just as if it had been connected to him. These experiments were then repeated again, up to hundreds of miles away, with the very same results. Very same results. Einstein would later describe this as, quote, spooky action at a distance. Whoa. We now know simply that thoughts in our mind have actual power. They have actual energy, actual force. And they can bring real results in our lives, either for the positive or the negative. We truly can think ourselves ill and sick, or we can think ourselves well, and we can heal ourselves. Joel Osteen is a well-known televangelist. He also has the largest congregation in the United States. He has more than 40,000 people that attend his congregation every Sunday. His mother was diagnosed with terminal cancer, metastatic cancer. Metastatic means that it spread to her body, throughout her body. She decided, however, rather than simply yield to the inevitable and wait to die, that she was going to change that. She went to the Bible and she found in the Bible every passage that she could about healing, about God's power in healing us. And she began to recite these passages over and over and over, literally every waking hour. When she went back in for a follow-up 6 months later, the doctors were astounded. Mouths open, they could not believe it. There was no evidence of cancer anywhere in her body. It was gone. The Bible tells us, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. Over and over, Scripture says, ask and ye shall receive. In another verse, God says, I will give unto you the desires of your heart. Yet most of us don't even stop to think what that really means. What God has been telling us for ages, science is revealing to us. Our thoughts have astounding, mind-boggling power over the events of our lives. In fact, they determine our reality. Shakespeare hit it right on the head when he said in Hamlet, nothing is either good nor bad, but thinking makes it so. Abraham Lincoln was ascribed to have said, most folks are about as happy as they make up their minds to be. The reality is we do determine our reality. You've heard the phrase, if you think you can or you think you can't, you're
Right.
right. Yep. Are you starting to understand? If we think we're not good enough, we never will be. If we think we're not smart enough, we never will be. If we think we don't have enough money, we won't. Science has shown that we can think ourselves sick, and we see that we can think ourselves well. Could we also think ourselves rich or poor? Well, let me share you my story. Money was scarce when I grew up. We drank powdered milk mixed with store-bought milk. We ate margarine and IMO. IMO, remembers? IMO was the inexpensive substitute for sour cream. For those of you who don't know that, chips and soda were something we ate at Dad's company picnic once a year. I didn't know what a steak was till I got to junior high school. We bought our clothes at the thrift shop. That's the secondhand store. We got one new pair of shoes each year. And that was in September, which was a good thing because by the time summer came, they always had holes in them. So I stuffed cardboard in the bottoms to get me through the summer until the next pair of shoes came in September. Dad worked as a store manager. He worked long hours and often evenings and Saturdays. He would always tell us, don't do what I did. Go to school, get a profession, so you'll have money and time to spend with your family. And I did what Dad said. I got a good education. And there was no reason that I shouldn't have been wealthy, except that I grew up with a scarcity mentality. Save, save, save. Money doesn't grow on trees.
It does, right here. It's right.
So do you think money was abundant or scarce when I went into practice? It was scarce. That's right. It was still scarce. I didn't know what it was like to have an abundance of money. My mind never made the switch from a poor scarcity mindset to an abundance mindset. And therefore, it didn't matter what I did, I would somehow prevent myself from becoming wealthy, because that was what I was communicating to my unconscious mind. I had opportunities to become a radiologist and later an anesthesiologist, both of whom make hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. But because of my scarcity mindset, I made choices that kept me in scarcity my entire career. And I had no idea I was doing that. So let's pause for a minute. What do you see with? Your eyes. That's what most people would say.
Right.
That's not true. We don't see with our eyes. Our eyes are simply a sensory organ that lets light come in, okay? Gathers light. We see with our brain. Our brain is what takes and processes those light signals and interprets them. That's what makes us see. Picture a tree with fruit on it. The results in our lives are like the fruit on the tree. If we want to change the fruit, what do we have to do? We have to change the roots. We could fertilize it more, water it more. Would that change the fruit? No, it's not going to change anything at all. If we want to change the fruit, we have to change the roots. In our lives, the roots of our results are our thoughts. Thoughts determine actions. Actions determine results in our lives. If we keep just trying to work a little harder or a little longer, is that going to do it? Well, no, that won't do it either. It's just like trying to put more water or fertilizer on it. It's kind of like Einstein's definition of insanity, right? We're just doing the same things over and over and expecting a different result. To change the results in our lives, we have to change our thoughts. The brain's an incredible organ. It's apart from every other creature on the earth. It has some 100 billion neurons and over 100,000 miles of blood vessels in our brain. It has the capacity to perform some 10 quadrillion operations a second. 10 quadrillion a second. The Japanese developed a computer that would do this, except that their computer was comprised of 864 refrigerator-sized units connected by hundreds of thousands of miles of cables and coiling units.
God was probably like,
Yeah.
Just a little bigger than the 2 to 3 pound brain we have, just to do what little our brain can do. Every second, there are 10 million brain cells that die and 10 million new brain cells that are created. The brain's made up of multiple layers. The center of the brain controls basic functions, things like respiration and digestion, things like emotions and sexuality. The most intellectually advanced functions are controlled by areas towards the front and the surface of the brain. They govern conscious thought. That's where we learn to create, where we focus, where we make judgments. The various functions of the brain fall into 2 categories, conscious and the unconscious, or subconscious, sometimes referred to. The conscious brain is where we think, where we reason, where we create. If I ask you how much of what we do every day is controlled by the conscious brain, what would be your answer? What do you think? How much is controlled by our conscious brain? Is it 100%, 90%, 70%?
Well,
Any
in this
guesses?
group, I would say it's up to 9.
The real answer is less than 3%.
Wow.
Less than 3% is controlled by our conscious mind. But because our conscious mind is all that we perceive, to our conscious mind, it controls everything, 100%. See, that's what we perceive. We perceive that we're controlling everything going on, when in reality, it's only 3. The real superpower in our brain and our mind is our subconscious. It controls 97% of what we do. And that's where habits are formed. Okay? That's where they reside. That's where achievements take place, is in the subconscious mind. The brain processes, or the conscious brain processes about 2,000 bits of information a second. But the subconscious brain processes about 400 billion bits of information a second. Okay? The conscious brain is what we have control over, what we can direct. Here it is that we set goals, we dream dreams, we make judgments. The subconscious brain simply follows orders. It doesn't write them. It just carries out the orders that the conscious brain gives it. It doesn't make any judgments about those orders. It just simply follows them. The conscious brain perceives the past, the present, and the future. So the subconscious brain, they are all the same. They are all present. There's no differentiation. The past, present, the future are all present right now for the subconscious brain. Okay? The subconscious brain is where all our habits reside, both physical and mental. What exactly is a habit? Well, you could all probably give me a definition. It's just something we do over and over again until it kind of becomes automatic. I went to Costco the other day with my wife, and we got talking on the way home, and suddenly we were at home, and I have no idea how we got there. It was like the car just drove itself. Some of you may have had the experience of on your day off from work wanting to go over to the store, and you're driving to the store, and you're just thinking about something else, or you're talking to somebody, and all of a sudden you end up at work. You go, wait a minute, I was going to go to the store. But see, your subconscious, that habit simply directed you somewhere else. Thoughts that we think over and over become habits. These thoughts create beliefs. Beliefs are not necessarily truths. They are simply ideas that have been repeated over and over until our mind accepts them as truths. They may or may not be true. The truth is that actually most beliefs are just a lie. If you look at that word belief, what's that little 3-letter word inside of it? L-I-E. A lie. Most things that we believe or have come to believe or accept as truths or beliefs in our lives are just simply lies. We tell ourselves, I'm not smart enough. It's too hard. I can't do it. little lies that nevertheless we come to accept as the truth. We tell ourselves someone else is better than we are. They have it more altogether. This was vividly demonstrated to me one week in my practice. I had Mrs. Smith come into my office on Monday. Now the names have been changed, obviously, for confidentiality, but Mrs. Smith came into the office. This is a true story. She sat down with me. She said, "Doc, I'm just falling apart. I can't keep it all together. I just wish, I could be like Mrs. Smith up the street. My house is a mess. The clothes are always dirty. I just can't keep it together. But Mrs. Smith up the street, she's got it all together. She's always smiling and happy. Her kids are angels. Her house looks great. She seems to have it all together." Well, 3 days later, into my office walks the person she was talking about. Mrs. Smith comes in on Monday, on Thursday comes in Mrs. Jones. Sits down in my office. "Doc, I'm just falling apart. I can't keep it together. My house is a mess. The laundry is always dirty. I just wish I could be like Mrs. Smith down the street. She's got it all together. She's always smiling and happy. And her kids are angels. She's got it together." We do that. We do that. See, their subconscious minds told them they were not enough. And they not only believed it, but their mind went to work finding every shred of evidence it could that that was true. And that's what our subconscious mind does. Once we have a belief established in our subconscious mind, it goes to work. And it finds anything that will lend credence or give evidence that what we now choose to believe is right. And it will ignore everything else. I'm sure there was lots of things that Mrs. Smith and Mrs. Jones knew about the other that they didn't have it together. But their subconscious mind chose to ignore all of that and just focus on what they were believing. Desires in our life are something that are created by our conscious mind. Beliefs, however, are created in our subconscious mind. The power of the subconscious mind is thousands of times more powerful. Thousands of times more powerful than our conscious mind. So what does that mean? It means that beliefs are thousands of times more powerful than desires. So we may desire to have something, but if there's a belief in our mind that's different than that, it's never going to happen. It was impossible for me to become wealthy because my mind, my internal thought habits told me over and over what I heard as I grew up. Money is scarce. When I finally changed that mindset, abundance just simply began to flow into my life, all of its own accord. And not only abundance in money, but abundance in every aspect of my life. And that brings us to the next step I want to talk about. How do you change that mindset? How do you change those entrenched beliefs? Remember that I said the brain creates 10 million new cells every second? Well, therein lies a key. The brain is constantly regrowing. It's rewiring itself. And so it's possible for it to completely rewire or reprogram itself with new circuits and new beliefs. As I mentioned already, the past, the present, and the future are all the same to the subconscious mind. If I say I'm a millionaire, or my spouse and I understand each other completely, it interprets that as a state that already exists, as if it were true now. And it takes that information and it acts on it. You've just given it its marching orders, and it will proceed to carry them out. You might not feel that way yet, but your subconscious does. It already feels that way because that's what it interprets. And it will find new evidence to support those new beliefs and thoughts while ignoring anything else to the contrary. It will begin to bring energy, people, resources, and opportunities to you to make those new belief systems come about in your life. Now, you've probably heard the phrase, whatever the mind can believe, it can achieve. That's right. If you want something different in your life, more money, a better marriage, increased energy, whatever it is, you need to start giving new marching orders to your subconscious mind. And those orders need to be written down. Studies have shown that it's far more powerful when those are written down. The more clear, the more precise they are, the easier it is for your subconscious to carry them out. And those statements should be written in the present tense first person. Examples might be, I am healthy. I am a millionaire. By the way, it's going to take a lot more than $1 million to retire comfortably these days, so I would make that figure a little higher. I sleep soundly through the night and awake full of energy. I have a harmonious, deeply satisfying relationship with my spouse. I'm an excellent communicator. I am confident and self-assured. Make your list. Tweak it. Make it clear and more precise. That's exactly what you want in your life. Once you've done that, next step is to repeat those affirmations over and over, morning and night, just like the children took their rock and rubbed their wart. Okay. How long do you need to keep doing that? Well, science comes to our rescue again. And NASA did a study that shed some light on how long we need to keep doing these things to make them become a habit, to change. How long it takes to reprogram our brain. They took a group of potential astronauts and they put on them goggles that made everything look upside down. And then they let them suffer in that condition while they waited to see what was going to happen. And nothing did for a long time. And then on day 26, something amazing occurred. One of the astronauts suddenly started to see everything right side up. Wow. And then within days, every one of them started to see their world right side up again. And they were all still wearing the goggles. Nothing had changed. Everything was now right side up in their world. Within further studies showed one other thing with that study. And that was if they took the goggles off for just a moment, nothing changed. Their world still stayed upside down. They had to wear these 24/7, night and day, all the time. If they took them off even for an instant, it was back to square one. So what does that tell us? Well, several things. First, we have the ability to change our world 180 degrees. Our mind has the ability to do that. Second, it takes at least a month of constant reprogramming for that to occur. And third, if we interrupt that process, it has to go back and start all over again. In fact, that's one of the reasons most people never see those results in their life. It's because something comes along and takes those goggles off for a moment. And so it never happens. And the more deeply entrenched your beliefs are, the longer it may take for that change to occur. The greater the challenge, the dream, the longer the incubation period for it to happen. But happen it will. Unless, that is, we bring in those negative thoughts. Unless we take off the goggles for an instant. And then we start back all over again. And we may never see the results. Remember the story of Peter in the New Testament. Peter could walk on water until he began to doubt. And then he began to sink. And the same thing's true for us in our lives. Remember, your reality is determined by your thoughts. What you think is your reality. It may seem incredible, but you can change your reality. Your brain can literally flip your reality around 180 degrees. From rich to poor, from failure to success. And that brings us to our third point, creating the life of your dreams. Once you've written down your new marching orders for your subconscious, take those affirmations and record them to Baroque music. It's been shown in studies that recording them and listening to them with the background of Baroque music makes them even more powerful. And then, again, you have to continue to repeat those morning and night, just like a child having to rub that word. To keep those new changes, to make them permanent, will require repeating sometimes those affirmations up to 90 days or more. Next, take time to create a vision of your ideal life. Write it out in great detail in every aspect of your life. Financial, business, personal, family, health, personal development, intellectual, spiritual. That life vision will be an additional powerful message to your subconscious mind. John Assaraf, who is the author of The Secret and the Answer, shared his story of the power of putting together a life vision. He created for himself a vision board. One of the things he put on that vision board was a picture of the dream house that he wanted to live in. Well, about 5 years later, found himself sitting in a room unpacking boxes in the new home he bought. And his son walked in the room, looked around, said, "Daddy, what's in that box?" It was one of the unopened boxes that was sitting on the floor. He said, "Well, I don't know. Let's take a look." So John went and he opened the box up, and inside was the vision board that he had made 5 years earlier. And he looked at that, and then his mouth dropped open, and he stared in total dumbfounded amazement. There was the picture of the house that he had put on his vision board 5 years earlier. It had been put away in a box and forgotten about. And it was the very house he was sitting in right then. The very house. Not some other house. It was the house that he had put on his vision board. Long forgotten, but not by his subconscious mind. Our mind has incredible, unlimited power. I want for you everything you desire in your life. What I've given you today is just a broad, non-specific prescription, but it's a starting point. It's a starting point for anyone who wants to begin the journey of creating the life of their dreams. As you begin, and unless you begin, your journey will never happen. Please take these initial tools, implement them, use them, put them to use every day. It won't happen unless you do. It simply won't happen. They will launch you firmly on your way. There are many other tools in the Strongbrook family to help you on your journey. These are just some basics. Each of you is a unique person. And that's where personal mentoring comes in. There's no one size fits all. But through the Strongbrook family, there's opportunities for personal mentoring. I'm not currently doing any personal mentoring, but there are others on the network who are. And when you're ready to move on, the resources are there. It's been a privilege to speak to you today. Let me close by sharing a quote by Marianne Williams, one of my favorite. Quote, "Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is not our light. It is our light, not our darkness, that frightens us most. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, fabulous? Who are you not to be? You are a child of God. Your playing small does not serve the world. There is nothing enlightening about shrinking so other people won't feel insecure around you. We are born to manifest the glory of God in us. It is not in some of us, it is in all of us. as we let our light shine, we unconsciously allow others to do the same. As we are liberated from fear, our presence automatically liberates others. Now, go forward. Create the life of joy and fulfillment you desire, and magnify the glory of God within you. Thank you, and God bless you.
Wasn't that awesome? That was fantastic, Bill. I really appreciate that. That was beautiful.
I want to share with our audience that this is not a perfect presentation. This was a challenge I was given several weeks ago, way beyond my comfort zone, way beyond anything I've done. And when Jane offered me the opportunity to come present some of these thoughts to you, I jumped at it. Not because I'm a great, perfect presenter, not like I have a great reputation, but because I can become one, and I will become one. And because each of you can do the very same thing. Thank you.
Well, that was just amazing. You are a great presenter. Your subconscious knows that right now. Right. Well, thank you all of you for being here today. I think we've been very richly fed, and we have a lot of exciting things happening. I know in the next 2 weeks when this app comes out, I think we're all going to be amazed on the ride that we're going to be on. And so anyway, with that, go and make sure you come June 17th. Thanks.
You're welcome. Good stuff. Oh, they're good reminders.